Next up for review, we're going to have a look at a Mastertronic game, funnily enough. Aren't they all? But by which I mean they're released in Mastertronic packaging, and it's called Back to Reality. Right then, here's the front cover of Back to Reality, and we have a spaceman of sorts on the front with his jetpack on, also a spaceship behind. Now, if you think this guy looks a little bit familiar, I'm going to demonstrate why, if you haven't worked it out yet. Maybe it's because he looks a little bit like this guy, the speeder bike pilot from Return of the Jedi. So a little bit of plagiarism going on there. But you know, it gives us sci-fi sort of Star Warsy kind of theme to things. Whether the game's like that, we'll soon find out. Anyway, moving on. Usual sort of stuff on the spine, logo and the usual bits and bobs. And on the back cover we've got a little intro to the game. Not so much an arcade adventure, more a way of destroying your social life. Is that a good thing? Not entirely sure. So it looks to be some kind of puzzle based arcade adventure. And inside we've got some screenshots which seem to reinforce the puzzle based arcade adventure. I'm expecting some flick screen shenanigans to be going on there. Oh, it says there the screens are from the Amstrad version, so they might differ a little bit on the C64. And inside we've got lots and lots of background to the story of the game. Synopsis reports, blah blah blah. Tells you a bit there about mixing some kind of antimatter stuff. Can't really be bothered to read that. And right at the bottom here you've got the important bit, how to play the game. It's not meant to be easy to be solved. Great stuff. I'm not really getting enthralled by this one. But basically you can set your own keys or use a joystick, blah blah blah, pick items up and move them and so on. Loading instructions, and there's also a little map there of the artifact, which is the big space station globe thing that you've got to adventure within. So we'll see how that map compares to the game itself. No foreign language stuff on this one, by the way, presumably because they had to fill up the instruction inlay with all this crap instead. Okay, we've got a loading screen on this one. Pretty lackluster stuff. The only really notable thing about it is 1986 Mastertronics. Couldn't even get the company name right. So here we have the title screen of the game, and you've got an area here which lets you redefine the keys, although I haven't worked out exactly what you have to press to redefine the keys, but since I'm going to use a joystick anyway, it doesn't really matter. There's also an option on the front screen to switch the music on or off, and you can only switch the music on or off on the title screen. You can't do it in game for some reason. So I'll switch the music on and then I'll start the game. So the game started and the music started, and as you can see you're a little man in a spacesuit, and the idea of the game is to wander around and get various objects to interact with one another. So for example, to pick up an object, this is an object container. You zoom up and you press the fire button and you pick an object up and it tells you there you're carrying a positive fuel cell. So the idea is to then find something to make that interact with. Now, I'll get onto the graphics and the controls and things later, but the first thing is, this music is terrible, and since I can't switch it off, I'm going to repeat what I did on one of my first tries of the game, which is to get this positive fuel cell, to react with another item, which happens to be a negative fuel cell. So you just zoom up to the negative fuel cell and press fire. Try to, you can get it lined up properly, which I'm not having much luck with. And it says there, the black hole has now crushed the obsidian. And what that actually means is, I've failed and it's game over. So that does give me the opportunity to switch the music off and give the game another try without having to listen to that god-awful music. So here I am again, and it's quiet now, which is nice. The only sound is the footsteps of my little spaceman and his 2 frames of animation. So the joystick moves the spaceman around, pushing up, uses his jetpack. Jetpack uses fuel, which is on a gauge here, which runs down, and if that runs down, you die and you lose a life, and you've got 5 lives. So as we already know, don't make the positive fuel cell interact with the negative one. That's a bad thing. Just to illustrate, you can refuel by going to one of these things with a tanker in it and holding down the fire button. It actually tops your fuel back up. Handy to have one of those near the entrance to the game, I suppose. It's really difficult to get around. Your little guy walks along the floor and just gets stuck against these little posts, for example, these little knobbles, for want of a better word, in the ground. So then you have to thrust over them. Of course, thrusting over them means you run out of fuel quicker. So as you can see, the landscape, if you like, is all primarily one colour on each screen. There's a few little bad things that are whizzing around that drain your fuel if you walk into them. I've picked up a flask of methane, don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. When the guy's walking, he walks at such a slow pace, it's really annoying. And there goes a life because something zapped into me, not even sure what that was. Now I've picked up an atom stabiliser, don't know what to do with it. What have we got here? A plasma pulse key, don't really know what to do with that either, and I've lost another life in the meantime. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. This game is pretty dire. The graphics are very uninspiring. Control of your guy is a bit erratic. It's too easy to lose fuel and therefore die quickly. Don't know what that thing with the PL on there is for. And I think more than anything else, and some of these little niggles could be... Is that another life gone? Yeah. Some of these niggles could be avoided or dealt with, accepted is the word I'm looking for, if it was more obvious what the hell you're supposed to even do in the damn game. But it's so vague as to what you're supposed to do. The instructions give you reams of information about the background of the game, but apart from having to escape this space station thing with and sort of combining various items together, it doesn't really tell you what you're supposed to do. I've now failed to rid the universe of the black hole menace, lost all my lives without even getting that far into the game, and quite frankly I can't be arsed to play it again. So definitely not worth $1.99, and I think that pretty much sums it up, and I wish the whole game would get sucked into a black hole, to be perfectly honest. I think I'm going to get back to my own reality, which doesn't involve playing a game like this ever again.